Welcome to the Sports Machine with Brian and Dean. January 27th, Wednesday, recorded in Dallas, Texas. Great weekend in sports. Great start of the week in sports. Weekend NFL playoffs. Patriots, Broncos, Cardinals, Panthers. Definitely going to go over those games. And where do the losers go from here? ESPN is still dropping the top 100 greatest NBA players of all time. Some questionable names are on the list. So we won't have to get on that. We'll go around the NBA Monday. Big game between the Warriors and Spurs ended up being quite the deficit.
Yeah. But then, you know, Greg Pop always has something up his sleeve. So.
And of course, you know, he had to sit somebody during the game.
Exactly.
He couldn't just play the full squad to see what would happen.
Right. Didn't want to show his hand just yet, you know. He's a true poker player, man.
I don't know if he's a poker player. He's just like screwing with the NBA.
Hey, that too. Either way, it's entertainment.
Every time I watch the Spurs play the Mavericks in Dallas,
right,
he sits some type of starters.
Exactly.
I've never seen a full Spurs squad play live.
That's right. That's right.
Every time I go to watch.
And it's funny because, like, it's been a couple of times they've won without those starters, and I'm looking like the Mavs like, come on, man.
Of course, those segments, somebody's got to get it. To lead off the show, going to NFL, which game would you like to lead off with today?
Start out with the AFC. That was the early game. Early game.
New England Patriots, Denver Broncos. Broncos had the game most of the way.
Right.
The very end, the New England Patriots made it a game.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yes, they did, without question. Except for one key thing that happened, I don't think any of us was expecting to happen was Gostowski missing the extra point.
Such a great kicker.
You're right.
He's been good all year.
Prior to that, I think he made over 500 and something extra point kicks. I want to, not for sure, but I think it was like 532 or something like that. 532, 531. It was over 500. That much I do know. But
he's really good.
Right. He's one of those few guys where you sit back and say, if he's kicking it, it's pretty much good. But
it was not that day.
Nope. At least not for that one time.
So if y'all don't know what Dean was referring to, Gostowski had missed an extra point, and at the end of the game, New England Patriots needed a 2-point conversion to tie the game instead of a extra point.
Exactly.
Which led to New England Patriots missing that 2-point conversion.
Exactly.
Which meant the Denver Broncos won 20-18. Peyton Manning, very efficient, not necessarily a great game by any stretch of the imagination. But when the defense sacks the quarterback 4 times, especially when that quarterback's Tom Brady, and getting a lot of rushes on the quarterback.
I think he was hit over 23 times, I believe. He was hit over 20 times, the most he's ever been hit in his career. The highest he's ever been hit at one time was 12 times in one game. Was the most at that time.
He went well over that.
Yes. Yeah, I think he almost doubled it. They almost doubled it in this game Sunday, but to me that was the surprise because I thought that
you'd figure as good as they played against the Chiefs.
Right. Who was arguably one of the best pass rushing teams at that time. You know, and Tom Brady got the ball just out so quick to where it completely null and void the whole pass rush situation. You know, but this defense, once again, I mean, Denver Broncos defense came up. They showed up to show out. And they did. They showed up. They showed out. Peyton Manning done, I think one of the surprises for me on that game was the way they came out with Peyton Manning and just some of the play calls that they did have. I mean, from the standpoint of they began to have him throwing the ball early to prove something. I guess to build his confidence up. You know, especially in that first drive where he gets the ball to who's that? Owen Daniels on a 20, 30-yard touchdown pass that first drive. That to me that was a surprise because even then they rolled out Peyton Manning. Like they rolled him out of the pocket. Made some good throws.
You gotta watch out for Peyton Manning's wheels.
And I don't think anybody was expecting that. I know for a fact the Patriots defense wasn't expecting a Peyton Manning rollout.
Yeah. No. Tom Brady struggled a lot earlier in the game, but towards the end of the game, it seemed like he finally found his rhythm.
Right.
If they would have tied the game right there, I think they probably would
Would
have
have
won.
won. You're right. Because I think it would have sucked all the air out that stadium. Not only would it sucked all the air out the stadium, but it's like you say, momentum it's a fickle thing. 1 minute it's on one side, and next minute it's on someone else's side. It's a flip flop. And at that moment in time, they got the ball a lot to Gronkowski. Gronkowski showed up. 8 receptions, 144 yards, and a touchdown. The main touchdown coming in a key point in time in the game where they needed the score. Like you said before, it was just the fact that trying to get that 2-point conversion wasn't for sure. It wasn't a guarantee due to the fact that they got to Tom Brady as often as they did. When you look at rushing, C.J. Anderson for the Denver Broncos has 16 carries for 72 yards, and the leading rusher for the Patriots.
It was Tom Brady with like 13.
Exactly.
And his long run was 11.
Just like that. 3 carries.
The second place dude was 12 yards. So in one run,
yes,
Tom Brady almost passed the rest of them. And it wasn't like each one had 2 rushes.
One thing that surprised me real quick about this game was Wade Phillips' defense and the calls that he was doing on defense. He had the Patriots completely fooled. I think they learned a lot from that first matchup, because at the end of that first matchup between Broncos and Patriots, first thing that they were saying was they couldn't believe that they threw the ball on them that much. Like, they were surprised by it. They was like, I can't believe this guy actually just went out here and they threw all day. Like, they didn't attempt to run. And so I think they came out with that same mind frame of, if they're going to sit here and try and throw on us all day in between the numbers, we're going to make them pay for it. And sure enough, they made Tom Brady and company pay for it. Now, granted, Tom Brady being first ballot Hall of Famer and a MVP caliber player, being Tom Terrific, as they call him, he still kept his game close. They still done everything they could to win this game. So you can never say Tom Brady quit. But you almost sometimes wonder what could happen if this guy really had, I'm talking, some legit weapons.
So they're on the show, we'll get into what the losers do.
Right.
The New England Patriots will be on there. I believe we'll probably discuss that.
Right.
Amongst the firing of the offensive line coach, whether that was right or not.
Exactly.
Bill Belichick, on whether maybe he's to blame for the loss.
Mm-hmm.
Touching on that, do you think Bill Belichick got outcoached?
No, I won't say it was outcoached, but I think that they were stunned a bit at the fact that they just how ineffective everything that they was doing was. Because I think they came in there with a set game plan, and they was going to live by their game plan and die by their game plan. And once again, Bill Belichick he'll be a Hall of Fame coach. He's won Super Bowls with a great quarterback, and no one's adjusted more to the game or adjusted to their team as much as Bill Belichick has. So I won't fault him for sticking with the game plan, living by it and dying by it. But a lot of people, I can understand why everybody will feel like, hey, he lost it because he should have made better adjustments.
I wouldn't even go all the way to say he should have made better adjustments, and then he didn't make any.
Right.
I think he did, which is why towards the end of the game they were still in it.
Right.
Because if he didn't make any adjustments at all, they probably wouldn't even have scored at all.
Exactly. But I've heard some analysts say that maybe he should have tried going to a more of a 2 tight end situation. But at the same time, I could understand why he wouldn't do that, because the couple of tight ends that did play in sparing situations, they hadn't played in this type of situation before.
Exactly.
They was playing in the regular season. We all know that there's a difference between the regular season and playoffs. The playoffs is a different beast than the regular season, especially when you see the way the Denver Broncos defense was hitting the Julian Edelmans and the Danny Amendolas. They was out there they was rolling people,
They
man.
took advantage of the fact that New England can't run.
Exactly.
They're no running backs.
Exactly.
Partly due to injuries.
Right.
Offensive line very sketchy. We'll get into that later.
Yes.
Defense played well, I think, considering the fact that
It could have been far
it
worse.
could have been worse.
Right.
I mean, 2 turnovers.
Exactly.
That's almost 14 points right there if you give up touchdowns, but they held the field goals.
Right.
I thought New England's defense played well.
Like you said before, besides, the touchdown early, other than that, the touchdown early and the touchdown late, other than that, like I said before, defense played well. They played about as well as you can expect your defense to play.
Their whole goal is to keep Tom Brady in the game, and they did that.
Exactly.
That's their whole goal. Keep Tom Brady in the game, and he'll find a way to win it. And he almost did. Maybe for not an extra point, they might have won overtime, or he would have won.
Yep.
Moving on from the AFC, because we go too far into that.
Right.
The next game was not close.
Nope.
I picked the Cardinals. I did. I said I had a feeling they would do something. They did not.
Mm-hmm.
Panthers won. I thought the Panthers were gonna win. I just had a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So I ain't too mad at it. Cam Newton does what Cam Newton does.
And Joe Gift Basket of the Week award goes to.
I didn't want to give it to him.
You had no choice, dude. He had 6 of them for crying out loud, dude.
I mean, he made it to the playoffs.
2 fumbles, 4 interceptions. Patrick Peterson was the only other person who had a turnover, which at that time he was just trying to make a play, and I won't bash him, but it's like your quarterback, your star quarterback,
Santa Claus.
gave up 6 turnovers. I said it 3 times. Yes, 6 turnovers.
I guess we kind of should have saw this coming.
Yeah.
After last week,
Do you think it was? I've heard some people say that, it was because he had that broken finger, I think pointer finger
No.
on his hand.
no.
Some people try to say, that kind of affected things, and I'm not saying it probably didn't, but at the same time, they had to know.
He went up against Carolina's defense. That's what happened.
Exactly. Like you said before, I could understand Larry Fitzgerald's comments at the end of the game. It was like, it wasn't that they lost. It was the way they lost. I mean, from the word go, they were done. And like you said, maybe we shouldn't have been surprised when we saw that, last week he had 2 interceptions, but arguably could have been 4 then.
Could have been.
All of them in the red zone, might I add. Because 2 of them was in the red zone or driving in the red zone. The other 2 was just the fact that some guys are playing on defense because they just can't catch.
What's up with Luke Kuechly?
Oh, man.
Like a pick 6 machine?
Like, dude.
Tell him to calm down.
Like, man. It's like he's become that guy where if he's dropping back into coverage, you don't throw it to his side no more. Like, he's become that kind of linebacker. It's like, not in my 31 years of living have I ever, seen a linebacker with that type of, I guess, like, coverage skills.
I don't know. Brian Urlacher was on it.
Well, yeah. Now that you bring him up, he was,
It's
but
kind of like that.
he was like that, but
He
like,
them picks.
yeah, he could get them picks, but like you said, for in the playoffs, man, he has 14 points in the playoffs alone. Pick 6 one week, pick 6 this week. Like, I can't bash that not one bit. I mean, he went from being a great run stopper to now being an all-around linebacker. Whether it's run or pass, whoever he's covering, or if it's in his zone, he will try to come down with it, and he will try to score. He's one of those few guys who, I guess you could label, he's a playmaking tight end. I mean, a playmaking linebacker. You got some guys, hey, this big hitter, or a run stopper, or just a pass guy. This guy, he's all around. He is all around it, man. Big ups for them drafting him and seeing it, and seeing the potential that he had to turn into what he is now, which arguably is the best linebacker in the league.
I don't know if it's arguable anymore.
Yeah.
I think he might just be the best linebacker in the league.
Because, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know Thomas Davis, he's been key, and that's another key deal right there. We get into our injury reports for the Super Bowl. A lot of guys went down on both teams that's playing in the Super Bowl. But, like, the resurgence of his career, I mean, I think he had, like, 3 ACL injuries. 2 in one knee and 1 in the other. And his guy's out there playing his butt off. Done played his butt off. The whole defense, Josh Norman. What can you say about Josh Norman? I mean, you know, say what you want to say. Call him as only a zone a cornerback or whatever. But the deal is, he plays well when they need him to play well. He locks down his guy, and that's all you can ask for. You know.
So say I don't care if he's only locking down the second guy. He locked down somebody.
Exactly. This guy is a complete non-factor.
And judging from the Arizona receiving stats,
right? Because
when you got the running back got the most receptions and yards.
Exactly. And see, that's the deal with that is a lot of people pick. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people picked Arizona is because of their receiving core, in which I couldn't bash him for it. I mean, I'm like, hey, Larry Fitzgerald, you know, hey, done what he done in the last game, and then not to mention Michael Floyd had 2 touchdowns in the last game. I mean, Michael Floyd hasn't been exactly the, you know, I guess the threat, the one guy who you would deem a threat on that team, but
I mean, he's a good third guy to have. I mean,
right.
John Brown there, then
right.
The emergence of J.J. Nelson this year.
Right. And John Brown was a no factor in this game.
Any wide receiver was a non-factor.
Right.
So you had David Johnson, the lead receiver, running back.
Right.
And then Darren Fells had the touchdown.
Right.
That's it. And then you can't really say nothing because Carson Palmer played terrible.
Exactly. Started out turning the ball over. I mean, like I said, 7 turnovers. And the one knock on Cam Newton was the one interception that he had that...
Patrick Peterson.
Right.
No.
And then that was even then you think about Patrick Peterson, the way he was getting ready to run it back, he was like, oh man, this is finna be a momentum shifter right here. And who comes out of nowhere? Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn was almost at the goal line, came out of nowhere and made a play to basically stall that drive, because the very next play, who throws an interception? Carson Palmer does, right in the end zone.
So you look at Ted Ginn, and the common conversation for the NFL to me when they talk about players and, you know, Madden and everything, everybody talk about speed.
Right.
Pure speed, and people talk about the fastest players in the NFL. You hear, you know, Antonio Brown.
Right.
You know, T.Y. Hilton.
Right.
Patrick Peterson. You hear the big names that make plays.
Right.
And you forget about, man, there's people in the NFL that can't really make plays all the time.
But they are speed.
And that's Ted
Speed
Ginn.
demons. Yeah.
That's Ted Ginn right there.
You can even go, what's his name from Seattle? The dude, the crazy.
Lockett.
Yeah. The crazy kick returner dude. Now, that guy there's got some burners. Also, you remember former UT receiver, I think he was playing in Buffalo, I think this year. Is it Goodwin, Marquise Goodwin, dude there? I mean, goodness gracious, he was one point in time. I think he was competing to go to for the Summer Olympics in the hurdles this year.
Yeah,
not sure how that turned out, but yeah.
All I know is if you're involved with the Olympics, you're fast.
Exactly.
That's all I need to know.
If you that fast with pads off, goodness gracious.
I mean, shout out to Cam Newton for doing what he's doing with the receiving people that he's got.
Exactly.
Who has heard of Corey Brown before this year?
Nope. And big ups to Devin Funchess for actually turning into the guy they needed him to turn into when Kelvin Benjamin went down.
Shout out to Michigan.
Yep.
Jericho Cotchery still plays.
That's
the biggest thing to me. This when people talk to me about the Carolina receiving core,
right?
Jericho Cotchery still gets playing time. That's all I need to know about their core.
And the funny thing about it is this guy he has his receptions comes at times where
he's
they
a
need
third down guy.
Thank you. There it is. Like he moves the chains. Like that's what I've noticed. Dude can only have 3 catches for about 25, 30 yards, but it's like each one of those catches was to extend the drive, and it's like. You can't bash a guy for being able to extend the drive. Like, that's your objective.
At one point when you're the defense and it's third down, you just look at your Jericho Cotchery like, all right, we need to watch him.
Exactly.
He's not going to outrun you. Just watch.
Right.
Okay.
Just watch his route.
Just walk alongside him
Right.
I'm not dissing Jericho Cottrell.
Are we going to have to start looking at Jericho Cottrell a lot like how with Big Shot Rob, and when he played?
No, this is not the same.
Because it got to a point where it was like, this guy can hit a shot. Why are we leaving him open? The same thing with Cottrell. It's like, we know this guy can make a play. So why are we not covering this guy? Why are we just letting him just run free?
I don't think they let it happen.
They let him. Like you said, they like,
who else are you covering? That's my biggest question, because the core is not good. You cover Greg Olsen.
Right.
And then on
double
third down,
team him.
On third down, you cover Jericho Cottrell. And Greg Olsen had 113 yards.
Nice.
And so did Corey Brown, 113 yards with a touchdown, but most of that came on one play.
Exactly.
That long touchdown pass.
But back to what you said about Cam Newton. This is Auburn Cam Newton all day long. Like, it has that Auburn season feel to it. Once again, we'll get into our picks and stuff like that next week, because this week is the Pro Bowl, and that's gonna be interesting to watch because they do the Pro Bowl draft today on ESPN at 6:30. So
we'll probably get into that.
Most definitely, because it's the draft is gonna be, I think, Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin.
Yeah, that makes it more interesting.
Right.
But at the same time, it's hard to watch when no one's playing hard. Just make it 7-on-7.
Thank you.
That's why I was. No offense to the lineman, you can still vote him in.
Right.
Like, all right, they're a Pro Bowl offensive lineman. He's a Pro Bowl defensive lineman. Keep the incentives in there.
Right.
Make him work hard, but they're not hitting no way.
You say 7-on-7
just
flag
do
football.
7-on-7 flags.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be more incentive for them to actually kind of play harder, because you can kind of get embarrassed on 7-on-7 for people that don't know.
Right.
Like, you're one-on-one with this guy, he just birds you.
Right. You know what? I'm not even opposing that. I'm not opposing it, because you got some guys who has played there, like, especially like some of these younger quarterbacks coming up in the league now that's basically gotten in because of certain players from certain teams that's playing in the Super Bowl couldn't get in. Like they're not gonna play this week, of course. But like, you got some guys who come in, they played this before. Like they spent their summers playing
7-on-7.
Exactly. So
I think most big time quarterbacks have played 7-on-7 at some point. And if you haven't, it's not that hard to pick up. Just throw the ball.
Right. And I think fans will be more entertained by it because, like, you got guys out there in full pads, like you said before. Nobody's finna waste their career on the Pro Bowl. It's like, I'm not finna go out there and tear a knee or get a concussion or break an arm or anything else for a game that's just, hey, I mean, I get paid either way. We get paid whether we win or we lose. It's just, if we win, we get more. And
also, I think they should do 7-on-7 and then do bring back
the festivities,
the competitions, the passing competitions, the running, especially
the
running. Okay, I want to see who the fastest player in the NFL is.
Of course,
Michael Vick killed that off.
Yes,
no one wanted to see a quarterback kill running backs. Because I am interested.
And cornerbacks. He killed cornerbacks, running backs, receivers, dusted them.
See, I was mad because they stopped doing that before Devin Hester hit the league.
Yeah.
And I want to see how fast Devin Hester could run.
Because I remember Allen Robinson for a while was that dude. Allen Robinson used to play down here at Skyline, cornerback for the Falcons for a while back. Yo, him and D'Angelo Williams used to have they used to duke it out on them low 40-yard down, on them low fastest player in the league deals.
Ooh, no, we're going to talk about the Pro Bowl tomorrow.
Most definitely.
Losers, Cardinals, Patriots. Where do they go from here? Which one would you like to start with?
I would go with the Pats.
All right, we start with the Patriots. They fired the offensive line coach. First off, was that the right thing to do?
I don't think it was the right thing to do.
Disagree.
Mainly because of the fact that they lost their best left tackle at Dallas. They did. They lost their best left tackle. And after that, it was just an interchanging line.
But don't you put that on the offensive line coach?
He done the
best.
You
don't think he's involved in who goes on the offensive line?
He done the best he could with what he had. Like, they were signing guys from off the street, so it's like, look, this is what we got. This is how you're going to play. This is what you need to learn. This is what you need to know. Now, if the lineman's not making the plays or not making the blocks, there ain't nothing else he can do. I mean, you can take him out and put somebody else in, but that other person ain't ready to go. It's still the same thing.
I still think that kind of goes on him though.
I'm not. I can understand why they would let him go. I mean, somebody has to be the blame when your quarterback takes that many shots.
I don't know if somebody has to. Like, they were 12-4 and lost in the AFC Championship by 2 points off a 2-point conversion. So I don't think someone had to go. I wouldn't have been mad. Like, oh, they just.
Yeah.
I would have been mad.
It was an overreaction, but the problem with the overreaction was it was like, well, it made it look like, well, it's because of the fact that he was fired because of the fact that Tom Brady got hit over 20-something times in the AFC Championship game. And like I said before, it
was an all-season problem, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't just that game.
But it really didn't show up till after the last week in the league when they played Miami. And Brady got hit all those times and they tried to run the ball.
He got hit a lot this season.
Yes.
Not just the last few games. Like, he'd been getting hit a lot this season. I think it finally took a toll on him.
But then that's kind of been the mark on Tom Brady, though. If you could get to him and you can ride him a little bit, he goes.
I don't agree with what you just like, because you've always said that he see go. I don't think he see go. He get hit. That's the problem. He's getting hit. He doesn't. No one else gets that. No other quarterback do you say that about, even though that's every single quarterback in the league. If they get hit, they're done. Yeah, that's every quarterback. That's not just Tom Brady.
But I think the reason why they do it to because Tom Brady's done built himself up. Certain players build themselves up to a certain level where it's like, this guy is impermeable. Like, you can't. This guy, like, ain't nothing you could do to this guy. If you give him time,
if you give him time, he can't be phased. But
right.
That's every single quarterback in the league. If you hit them, then yeah, they're getting hit. They're not gonna be good.
But not every quarterback is Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. Unfortunately,
it's all Peyton Manning doesn't even get this. He doesn't get if you can get to him, he's done.
Oh, he's got that. He don't get that. He got that. Peyton got that.
Peyton Manning gets the most passes of any quarterback I've ever seen.
No.
Yes.
Not especially when they start talking about his postseason play. No, people's gotten, like I said, it hasn't been as demonstrative as they used to would do, like a Tony Romo or like a Donovan McNabb or somebody like that.
Because he gets passes. That's what I'm saying.
It hasn't been that demonstrative, but at the same time, it's like,
why hasn't it? Because he's likable.
I would like to know the answer to that question too, but at the same time, they have gotten to him like that. People haven't given him that pass. And then back to what I said about Tom Brady, I mean, that was what was said. Hey, we get to this guy, he'll begin to show up his feet. He'll begin to tap dance, because that's one of the things you always told me you liked about Tom Brady, and why you don't understand why most quarterbacks don't watch tape on him is because of the fact that it's not that he's a mobile quarterback. It's the fact that he moved just enough to buy him that extra split second or split timing to make the play happen.
Yeah, but you can only do that if the whole offensive line doesn't get blown up.
Yeah.
Which is what was happening this year.
So maybe that's what they need to focus on this year.
This is why I'm saying why the offensive lineman.
I don't think he still should have been fired, though.
I think he should have been fired.
He said he done to kind of back that up. I mean, he kind of told, like you just said, he done the best he could with what he had, and then they got to the AFC Championship game with it. So it's like, yo, if there's anything, give him a raise.
Don't give him a raise.
Give him a raise. Say, hey, man, true enough, this offensive line got Brady jacked up, but at the same time, it still helped us get to a number 2 seed and get us to the AFC Championship game. We came across the number 1 defense, and as we know, defense wins championships.
Disagree.
I think one of the things that the Patriots will need this offseason is not just they would. That's their main focus is offensive line, but also in free agency or even in the draft, looking to grab a playmaking receiver on the outside, not one of these little guys. Not one. I don't bash the little guy, because right now you can say. Right now, would you agree or disagree when I say Antonio Brown right now is like the best receiver in the league this season?
Yeah, yes.
I mean, I'm not talking about past seasons, but as of this season right now, he's the best receiver in the league, and he's only 5'10". But the problem with that is Antonio Brown can make plays outside the numbers. Julian Edelman, don't get me wrong, he's not a bad guy. Danny Amendola and all those guys,
I mean, we got slots.
Exactly.
There's slots. There's
Exactly.
slot receivers playing outside.
Exactly, and that's what they caught. That's what they got caught on, was the fact that these guys are slots, but they will come to the inside the numbers to make the plays while they was playing on the outside. So I think they need to get another big guy who can make plays on the outside. I mean, we've heard rumors about Calvin Johnson Jr. possibly retiring. Maybe you could look to see if they want to make a trade to bring the guy over over there. I mean, can you imagine Calvin Johnson on the outside? Maybe the Denver Broncos can't play the receivers the same way with the Calvin Johnson on the outside with the Tom Brady being one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. You know what I'm saying?
You can't play the same.
Maybe get a young stud receiver. I mean, you said Tom Brady said himself, hey, he see himself playing until he's out in his 40s. I mean, now only time will tell with that, but get your young stud receiver who can, like I said before, make some plays and help them out on the outside. I mean, the Edelmans and the Amendolas can make the plays inside numbers, but I think they need a legit outside number threat, wide receiver threat. Far as defense goes, I mean, I really don't have too many problems with the defense. I mean, that's one of the things Belichick has always been pretty good at, is getting his defense to play and do what they needs to do. You know, he's drafted some good guys. He's also found good defensive players late in drafts.
Moving on for the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
What are the Cardinals? What about the Cardinals?
The Cardinals, man. I kind of wonder what this game would have looked like had they not lost Tyrann Mathieu, who they're in discussion with, a long-term deal with Mathieu, because once again, I mean, let's not forget Tyrann Mathieu, who fell late in the draft to Arizona, is a pretty doggone good playmaking safety. They had him playing safety, who's also, he can come up and play cornerback. And they lost him in the Eagles game when they was blowing them out, which Bruce Arians caught some heat from that. But you kind of wonder what this team would look like with an extra playmaker on defense. But once again, their defense has played pretty good this season as well.
The defense has been good.
I think
Chris Johnson being healthy might have been interesting. Just two running backs.
Exactly. Being able to possibly move Johnson out there in a slot or something like that, giving him an extra receiver threat. I don't really see a lot of adjustments that this team could make, mainly because they got through one game because their quarterback was a turnover basket in their first playoff game in the divisional round, but they escaped it. This time when he was a turnover basket, they couldn't escape it.
Do they need to address that? Do you think?
Well, of course.
Carson Palmer is the problem.
Well, they just signed him to a multi-year contract, so the best that they could do is actually look to have a quarterback line in the wings, I guess, learning from Carson Palmer and being ready to take over the throne. You could say that.
I don't just blame Carson Palmer though.
I do. I'm sorry. You can't have 6 turnovers.
I mean, I blame him for that loss, but I don't
blame the whole thing.
They wouldn't even been in this position. We've seen the Arizona Cardinals without Carson Palmer. So
right.
That's what I'm like. Yeah, they lost that game because of Carson Palmer, but this season it's like
it's also because of him too.
I mean,
right. I can understand that.
They've had these receivers for a while. They've had questionable or supposedly good running backs for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've been interchanging them, but they've been all right running backs there and a good offensive line and a good defense.
Right.
They just haven't had a quarterback. Carson Palmer actually made a big step.
Right.
Now, if he keeps turning the ball over every postseason, obviously.
Exactly.
But this is his first postseason in a while.
First postseason in a while, and he channeled his inner Cincinnati Bengal, man.
He did. Coming up next, moving to the NBA right here on Sports Machine. Sports Machine with Brian and Dean. Just went over the NFL weekend, championship games, AFC, NFC, and what the losers would do from there. Now moving to the NBA.
Top players.
ESPN's been listening.
Not the top players, the top players.
The 100 greatest players in NBA history. And so far there's been some questions. Haven't been too hard on them. We got to 80, so I guess we'll Go to 79.
And it's like you said before, a lot of these guys that they're mentioning was playing back in the 50s. And let's be for real, I wasn't thought of. I don't know what my granny and them was doing back then or my big mom was doing back
We
then.
can just go off what they tell us.
Exactly.
So starting at 80, Grant Hill. We know Grant Hill.
Right, most definitely. I'm actually surprised that Grant Hill is like
80, I'm
like
surprised
so
too.
high. Like maybe they moved him up so high because during the prime years, like I guess when he was actually peaking, and he was like getting those endorsements from Sprite and Fila. I guess he spent a lot of it injured.
So I thought it was surprised that he was 80. I thought it might have been 85 or something.
Oh, you're surprised that he's
Yeah.
lower than that? Oh wow. I'm saying I'm surprised that I think he.
Like I think because I understand what he could have been, all that. Because I hear a lot of that. Well, he could have been it. Well, he because there's a player later on in this list that we're gonna talk about that I think it's kind of like that too.
Okay.
It's like, well, it could have been, but man, he wasn't.
Right.
Yeah, he could have been LeBron, but he wasn't LeBron.
Right.
Number 79, Jerry Lucas.
Hmm.
One of them dudes. Number 78, Sam Jones. 10 championships. I guess that's all you gotta say is he won 10 championships.
Yeah.
Teammate of Bill Russell. 70,
Well, yeah. Well, of course. Like, all right. Yeah.
77,
I
Joe.
would love to have been playing with Bill Russell too. He had 11.
77 is Joe Dumars. Alright. I can accept that. Number 76, Nate Archibald.
Okay.
For people that don't know, he averaged one season 34 points per game and 11.4 assists per game.
Wow.
And he led the NBA in both of those stats that year.
Well, yeah.
Only NBA player in history to do that.
Yeah,
To lead the league in scoring and assists.
No, man. Stephen Curry may be about to blow that out.
No. Number 75. Now, Grant Hill's better than this guy. Blake Griffin. 75.
Without question.
You tell me Nate Archibald. We just talked about what Nate Archibald did in one season. Blake Griffin is ahead of him. All right.
I'm at a loss for words for that one. I mean, I'm not bashing. See, that's my only problem with this. Like some of the current players,
I'm bashing.
I don't understand.
some of the current players, right? It's like, especially with Blake Griffin, you still building on your career. So it would, to me, it wouldn't be a slide if these guys were, like you said before, like up in the high 80s and 90s and things like that, because of the fact that their career is still progressing. In my opinion.
Number 73, Dikembe Mutombo. Second greatest shot blocker of all time. So I'll put him over there. Adrian Dantley at 72.
I'm actually surprised Mutombo was kind of higher up there. I think he'd been lower, but
He's well known, but
right.
at the same time, I mean, it's not like he was a scoring machine.
You said Adrian Dantley?
Yeah, 72.
All right.
71, Pete Maravich.
What?
Yep,
Pistol Pete is that high?
yep. I guess it's because he hasn't won a championship, but, you know.
Think about what it would have been if they had a 3-point line. With the shots that he was making back then was NBA range 3-pointers now. Like, he would be higher on the scoring list. And the goodness, great. Man, all right.
That's all right.
That's all I can say, because, like you
I
said,
feel you. Because, you know, I wonder if Stephen Curry is on this list, right? So they already got him, had a Pistol Pete. I'm assuming. He's probably on the list.
See, that's why
He's probably on the list.
I'm more than likely he will
Griffin's
be
on the list. Then.
Yeah, more than likely he's going to be on the list, and he's going to be pretty low. But I'm saying,
He
like,
shouldn't be low already.
he's going to be pretty low.
I know he's gonna be pretty low, but he shouldn't be this low
I
already.
wouldn't surprise if they got him top 20.
He better. All right, number 70 is Artis Goodmore.
Sounds familiar. What'd he do?
Played with Chicago from 76 to 82.
I feel like I've heard his name.
Spurs 82 to 87. Celtics.
Okay.
You know, I mean, he has more career rebounds than any player except Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Moses Malone, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
So basically the top 5 best centers.
Yeah, he's really good.
Right.
I mean, ABA and NBA. So
Hmm.
number 69, Vince Carter.
I have no problem with Vince Carter being
I
on the
have
list.
no problem with Vince Carter being on the list.
Right. Let's not forget the dunk. Just all I got to say is the dunk.
Not even just that though. You look at his stats: over 23,000 points, 5,000 rebounds, and 4,000 assists.
Nice.
Only 9 other players have done that, and all 9 of those players are in the Hall of Fame.
So needless to say,
and he's got 3 nicknames. They got a section over here for nicknames. Everybody might like. Some people don't have a nickname. Some people have 1 nickname. Rarely do they have 2, and he has 3.
Half man, half amazing.
Vinsanity and Air Canada.
Air Canada, straight like that. I forgot from his Raptors days, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bob Lanier comes in at 68. Number 67, Dwight Howard.
No way. Dwight Howard shouldn't be ahead of no Pistol Pete.
Vince Carter.
Man. Okay.
You said okay.
I'm like, yeah, I have to, dude, because otherwise this list will go on really, though, man, and I already got it.
Well, it should be on really, though. Listen to the list.
God.
They have Dwight Howard ahead of Vince Carter.
Maybe they're thinking about, like, Dwight Howard, like, Orlando Dwight Howard, when Dwight Howard really was a monster. But it's like, post Orlando Dwight Howard hasn't exactly lived up to his reputation.
You have to take the whole career into account when you're talking about the greatest players of all time.
Yeah. Not to mention, he's still playing. He's one of those guys, like, I think, man.
He shouldn't even be in the top 100. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. He shouldn't be ahead of Yao Ming, and Yao Ming's already been on the list.
Right.
Yeah, he's better than Yao Ming, technically, but I don't like it. Number 66, Chris Webber. At least Chris Webber's ahead of him. I would have been mad. Because Chris Webber once had 51 points, 26 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks in a game. And in that game, they lost.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks. That's almost like DeMarcus Cousins the other night.
Oh, 56?
Yeah.
Terrible.
It was fouled out, like, got called on the foul. Like, that was I watched that game, and I was like, yo, that's not a foul. Like, they called an offensive foul. I was like, it's not his fault that this dude is so small, man. Like he's trying to win a game. Anyway, all right, back to the top.
65 is Alonzo Mourning. I think Chris Webber should have been ahead of Alonzo Mourning, but I'll take Alonzo Mourning.
The fact that Dwight Howard is so close to Alonzo Mourning is just a travesty.
Number 64 is Dennis Rodman.
All right, I can buy that.
Just basically for rebounding. Number 60.
Right, rebounding and defense.
Yes.
Duke could change the game with his rebounding and defense.
And pretty much energy.
Yeah.
63, Tracy McGrady.
I think he should be lower on the list, mainly because he's retired.
I don't think so.
You think that's a good spot?
I think that's a good spot. He's enough, like I said, we would mention before the could have beens.
Yeah.
I think he's like Grant Hill, and the fact that it's like, man, Tracy McGrady, he could have been like Kobe. Well, he could have been like Kobe, but he's not like Kobe.
Right.
So he doesn't deserve to be in the same area as Kobe because Kobe had a long career.
Right.
It's not necessarily Tracy McGrady's fault, his injuries, but it's also not my fault that he's not going to be ahead of these other players. 62 is Alex English.
No.
He's the leading scorer of the highest scoring team in NBA history, basically. He averaged 25.4 points per game for the 81-82 Nuggets, who averaged 126.5 points per game. Number 61, Manu Ginobili. I don't think he should be ahead of Vince Carter or Tracy McGrady.
Yeah, thank you. I respect what he's done.
Basically, he's getting credit for being part of
a great trio.
Yes.
A great trio.
He's part of the trio. And I'm not even sure if he's the key part of the trio.
He's one of those guys who I expect. Like, I'm not. He should be on the list, but not this low.
He's the guy that's replaceable in the band. You know, like how rock bands always like they could continue going without him, and they could replace him with somebody else.
Oh man, he just put him on the band squad. Like, man, yeah, flex bomb. That's a double. Like, just flex bombed him out.
I'm not dissing.
You not dissing, but this what the rap game is missing, huh?
As we go into the world of the haters.
My Spurs fan,
should
though.
be 80. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can actually shoot him down like that because you a legit Spurs fan. But I'm like, yo, like,
he's replaceable. That's all I'm saying. And he misses a lot of shots. I don't think people realize that. Earl Monroe comes in at 60.
Earl the Pearl
Earl the Pearl
at 60.
at 60. One of the 6 players in NBA history to average at least 20 points and 4 assists in each of their first 4 seasons.
I never watched Earl the Pearl play, but just from when I watched like ESPN Classic, like ESPN Classics and NBA TV Classics, from some of the games that they have showed of him, dude was a baller. So I gotta say he should be lower on this list,
A guy
in my opinion.
A guy that I think should be higher is Carmelo Anthony at 59. I think Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady,
Right.
Pete Maravich,
Right.
these type of players should be ahead of Carmelo Anthony.
True
right
story.
now. I know Carmelo Anthony's probably a better scorer than those players, but
You can only go by what you know about this dude, and that's what we know.
58 Tony Parker.
Okay.
And you know if Manu Ginobili made the list, Tony Parker was coming. And I
Right.
think that's probably about a good spot.
Right.
57 Robert Parrish.
He used to play with the Celtics, right?
Celtics, yes.
Right. Okay. I
And
know
that's
his name
mainly,
sounded
mainly
familiar.
what he's known for. He played with other teams, but he's mainly known for that.
Right.
He also played for the Bulls 1 year when he won the championship.
Mm.
Number 56, Pau Gasol. Now you tell me he's better than basically people I've been listening.
No. Like, and the thing is like he's at the
I like
he's
Pau
at the
Gasol.
close tail end of his
Like,
career.
I think he
so
should be 80s.
Yeah.
Like he should be on the list, and maybe even 70s. But
At the lowest is 70s.
yeah, 56. I'm not putting him ahead of Tony Parker, Pete Maravich,
Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady,
Dave Cowens comes in at 55.
Earl the Pearl.
54, Bernard King.
Like I said, I heard his name. Even seen him on commercials.
Mainly
stuff
known
like
for
that.
the Knicks.
Right.
In the middle of his career. I mean, won the scoring title in 84-85 with the Knicks.
Right.
53, Wes Unseld. Bullets
Mm-hmm.
through and through from Baltimore to Washington.
Right.
52, Bob McAdoo. 51, ending the list so far, is Reggie Miller.
I ain't got no problem with Reggie Miller being that low. But I know you got some feelings towards Reggie.
I don't have a problem with Reggie Miller. I think he's a good player.
But here comes the but.
If he wouldn't have done what he did to the Knicks that one time, he'd probably be in the 80s.
I don't know about that.
I think so.
Because I think, like you said, he's most known for what he did to the Knicks. But like he's had other games where it's like, yo, like he's left this print on the game.
Like he was so to me this is what it was. He was so underrated at his time that everyone has overrated him now.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
Okay.
Like he was so underrated at the time because how many players were playing at the time and what
Right.
he was like, and he finally got over the Knicks, and then now it's like, oh, they made a whole 30-30 about him. And
Right.
he's an analyst and
Right.
he's a really good dude.
Right.
That's all fine and good, but
Not to mention, he comes from a basketball
he's
family.
not
I mean, his
better.
sister being the coldest one in the family.
He's not better than Tony Parker to me or Pete Maravich. He's clutcher than them, but he's not better than them at basketball.
Ooh. I don't know about that one. I won't, like I said, with Pistol Pete, I take Pistol Pete over Reggie Miller as well. But like for him and Tony Parker, it's like Tony Parker got the titles.
Tony Parker almost makes 10% more of his shots and only 2 points less per game. Has 4 championships.
Right.
Reggie Miller has 0. Reggie Miller was a 5-time All-Star. Tony Parker is a 6-time All-Star. By the way, Tony Parker's still going.
Yeah, well, shit. Yeah. Well, you put it like that. Well, all right. But I'm just saying, like I said, from when I look at the clutch factor, it's like, all right. When the time is running down, do I want Tony Parker to just be shooting the final shot, or do I want Reggie Miller?
I don't know. And Tony Parker averages 3 rebounds more.
They say, yeah, and he's still going, but I guess with the clutch factor, I think that's what sits with me.
All right.
The clutch factor.
I'm not gonna bring up my next point. I'm not gonna bring it up because
Go ahead, man, shoot it away.
I'm a hater on Reggie Miller. It's a fact. That's what I've learned.
As we
today.
go into the world of the haters.
As clutch as Reggie Miller is, how is it he never won a championship? If you that clutch, why haven't you won a championship?
Hey, Being able to hit the game-winning shot and playing on a team with some knuckleheads, that's another story. Because that squad that they had from the Malice and the Palace day, oh man, that was a squad. Jamal Tinsley, Reggie Miller, a young Jermaine O'Neal, a young Ron Artest. Who else was that? Was Steven Jackson on that squad, I think?
Yes.
They had a squad. Thinking back on it now, would you agree that that was a squad that could have won a title?
But at that point in time, Reggie Miller wasn't even the best player on that team.
Nah, he wasn't. Without question, he wasn't. But he was on a team that had the potential. But everybody was so big on, this is my team. No, this is my team. It's like he said before, put that to the side. Let's win the championship. But hey, you know, like they say, if if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk, man.
I'm a hater on Reggie Miller. I'm waiting until Chris Paul comes up on this list.
Oh yeah,
Because he's coming. Blake Griffin made the list already. And Chris Paul hasn't popped up. Yeah, Chris Paul's coming.
he's probably gonna be.
He's going to be ahead of Tony Parker.
And I can understand your frustration with that. I could understand your frustration with that because, like I said, he's probably gonna come up. If not 50, he's gonna be like 49. Watch, he's coming like
He doesn't deserve to be ahead of Reggie Miller. And I'm a hater on Reggie Miller.
But then that just goes to speak for your disdain for.
I don't have a disdain. I don't have a disdain for Chris Paul. I think people overrate him. He a top 10 point guard in the league. Just outside the top 5. Just outside. Around the NBA on the sports machine. Current stuff. What did you think about David Black getting fired over the weekend?
Uncalled for, but
I mean, they're only winning the East right now.
yeah. Once again,
That's all they're doing is winning.
most people hesitate to say it, but I'm going to say it. I put, as much as LeBron James don't want this put on him, it's on him. Yes, it is on him, so he needs to wear it, in my opinion. I understand, this is what they call it, LeBron James, like he cares about his brand, his marketing. Okay, I understand that. But at the same time, you need to wear it because had he showed Black a little bit more respect, this wouldn't have happened.
True.
Like that, and that's something that he cannot hide. Like you cannot hide. Like, dude, this is on. They can pull up tapes and games of where you basically have called the huddle together, and you're basically telling everybody what they should be doing, minus David Black in there. And then by the time Black come in there, everybody's kind of like, okay, whatever. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, even if you wasn't buying into what he was teaching or what he was doing, keep that in-house. Like, keep that in-house. Keep that in the locker room. You displayed he displayed, I guess, the fact that he's not NBA. He's not as NBA savvy as LeBron is, from the standpoint of LeBron being playing the NBA and been around some pretty good coaches in his career, than David Black, who hasn't really done enough over here in the NBA. So it's like, well, he didn't have their respect for him, but it's like, okay, well, you being the leader of the team, people will follow him if you follow, because that's just the power you have.
Yeah, if you got whisper in his ear and let him say it.
Right, exactly. Say, hey, we're going to do this play right. Like you said, there it is right there. Being the ultimate team guy. It's like, yo, I don't feel this guy as a coach, but maybe I could help him along. You know what I'm saying? And take out, hey, this is something I learned from when I used to play in Team USA from Coach K. From a few times that I've seen Greg Pop when I played him in the finals. This is some of the stuff that he used to do to me, and some calls that when I went back and watched tape, being a gym rat, this is some of the stuff that he used to do to us, or plays that he called up in game winning situations. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we should try this. Maybe we should try to run a little bit of that. Now, he could have done it, and we just don't know about it, but all we know is what we see from what they've played. You know what I'm saying? And I said before, let's not get on the infamous bump gate with down there in South Beach. You know what I'm saying?
Tyronn Lue getting his revenge. Stepped over David Black.
Yeah, I like what Richard posted. Warriors should hire Allen Iverson for fun. It's just a mess with me. That was funny. That was real funny. I also saw a meme, right? Real quick. I saw a meme of when Tyronn Lue was talking to the team in the huddle. Everybody had this picture in their head like, why is he stepping over you, though? I thought that was hilarious. Okay, back to it.
You gonna trust Tyronn Lue taking over the team? I couldn't play against him.
Because that's
Every time I walk past him on the bench, I'm just
take
gonna take a
step.
casual long step over.
Extended, looking him in his eye like, yep.
It's like, do not let him fall down. If he falls down, it's going down.
Oh, man.
Ultimately disrespect.
Do you think Tyronn Lue hates Allen Iverson?
Yeah, I would. He should follow. What?
I'm a grown man, dog. I got a family at home, man. Your kids is gonna be linked to that for the rest of their life.
Step over you like your daddy used to.
Oh, okay. All right.
Would you like to go first?
All right, I got you, because this mine is connected. My really though goes out to the Cleveland. I almost called them Cleveland Browns, but they
Might as well be.
It goes to the Cleveland Cavaliers fans for Saturday's reaction to the team's loss to the Chicago Bulls on Saturday. Well, they wasn't exactly happy with the performance, and granted, they have a right to be happy. They have a right to, they spent their money on those seats, and they have the right to do what they want to do. But when you decide you want to boo a team that's still first off in the Eastern Conference and still a legit championship contender, and you decide that y'all feel like y'all want to boo them, I have to say to you guys, go back 2 years ago and, well, y'all had a lot of empty seats in that arena. A lot of y'all wasn't even there 2 years ago. So, to boo a team right now that's winning, when 2 years ago this team was at the bottom, was down there with the, what you call them, the Philadelphia Tanks, competing for lottery balls to be off in the lottery pick. I think y'all should think about that. LeBron James has been a godsend for a lot of those restaurants and companies and stuff down there in downtown every time there's a home game. Why? Because they sell out. Why do they sell out? Because LeBron James is there. So, Cleveland fans, really though?
You hate Philadelphia that much, you almost really don't do them anywhere.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you know how I feel about Philly.
Wow.
Now that's disdain.
That is real disdain, unfortunately. Mine really though goes out to Shaquille O'Neal. And Shaq seems like a good dude. I never would have thought he would have did this, but yeah, maybe it's not true. Maybe these reports are not true, and that's what I'm hoping. But from what I'm seeing on my screen, on this computer, on Fox Sports, if you'd like to check it out, Shaquille O'Neal was talking to somebody, and his comments on his years at LSU were, and quote, "Yes, they paid me very well. Hey, the statute of limitations is up."
Wow. Hey.
The Big Snitch. It's a new nickname.
The big tail of the world. Some would say Shaquille O'Neal, he'd go tell it on the mountain. Oh.
Just go ahead and snitch your whole program out.
Right.
Now, that isn't necessarily all that was said. Shaq wants his son to go play at LSU. There's no problem with that. And quote, this is just what I'm seeing. I don't know if it's true or not. And quote, "You can probably get a house. You can get 2 cars. I'll set it up for you. I know some people down there."
Ah, flex, man. Just straight up. Just let the whole world know, why don't you?
Snitch on the program before they even get a chance to.
Yeah, have them on the investigation. Get them done in like SMU. Just go ahead.
They under investigation. He's a 2018 prospect. Why have you been talking to Shaq's son, Sharif?
Shaquille O'Neal's no longer allowed on LSU campuses.
I wouldn't doubt it.
It's coming. Like, that's how they done the Fab Five, didn't they, in Michigan?
That's ridiculous. Come on, Shaq. Really though? He's gonna snitch. Snitch on yourself. You self-snitch before you even got a chance to break it. The rule. I know he was probably joking. I know he's a jokester. But at the same time,
The NCAA is too serious about things of that nature. to be joking.
They will give death penalties. To
Yeah.
take away scholarships for things they don't even know about.
Suspend your coach for almost 9 or 10 games or half the season if they can.
Shaquille O'Neal bought his son a bagel, and that's a violation.
True story. Can't get fed.
He can no longer buy his son dinner because he might go to LSU. Great show. Tomorrow, probably talk about the Pro Bowl, more NBA, probably some more NFL, especially if we get into these injuries. All that more coming up on the Sports Machine.